I'm so happy for Kweng, man. This moment I know was so big for him.
Look, man don't lie, man spit rhymes. 2-2 step then the next shot fly. Dip slash in his chest or his eye. Ask little bro if you think that I'm lying. Screaming out gang by your gang, don't ride. Night kick suit J1s and I'm nice. Thought my bedroom wasn't up, so I stopped. Needy pie. Kweng is this, Kweng is that. Kweng is Marga, his head's fat. But I'm still king in this bitch that's fat. Fuck your girl and robbed her man. Man don't fuck with them, you joke man. Allow it.
You are now locked in to Crossover Media.
Yo, Kweng is mad funny. I love this. I already know I'm going to enjoy it. Once I heard the preview and I heard the way that Caesar was able to incorporate everything that sounds UK. You have the drum and bass, the garage. I personally can't really distinguish between the two too much right now, so forgive me if I'm wrong about which one is which. But he incorporated all those elements. He has the really grimy 808s. Obviously, we have a drill artist. You have the moments where it returns right back to the essence of it, which is still drill. So I love the fact that he did it. And really, Caesar's been doing this for a minute. Since Product of My Environment, he's been showing that he can bring you these experimental sounds that don't feel forced.
Needy pie. Kweng is this, Kweng is that. Kweng is Marga, his head's fat. But I'm still king in this bitch that's fat. Fuck your girl and robbed her man. Man don't fuck with them, you joke man. Allow it, I meant joke men. Golden one from up the old blue. Met a sweet one from down the old Kent. Like, big Kwengface from the north. How did I get this far? They think I'm a bandit, I think I'm a star. When I cut tune, man, I place like raw. Face so big that I can't go shop, man, I always get clocked. This shit is so hot. Is it a fan or is it an op? Either way, man's moving on job. Look, I love my freedom.
These are the kind of moments that I appreciate from drill artists. When they actually give you an understanding of what's happening in their mind. The fact that somebody like Kweng, obviously he's coming from the background that he's coming from. He's made a name for himself. He's made a brand for himself. Then now when he steps out, obviously he already had to worry about these things to a degree. But now he has to worry about it even more with the kinds of attention he has. He has people who genuinely want to approach him. But then how do you distinguish that between the people who want to do you harm when you've been living a particular life for so long? So that's like something so small. And I know that other people, you get that, you hear it, and you immediately understand it. But I want to make sure we give credit to lines like that, because I think that drill artists give us these small understandings of their lives. And this is almost like therapy to a degree, but we don't really acknowledge it as that. So I want to make sure we give that line credit.
When I cut tune, man, I place like raw. Face so big that I can't go shop, man, I always get clocked. This shit is so hot. Is it a fan or is it an op? Either way, man's moving on job. Look, I love my freedom, but I risk it anytime I see them. Fly at the rhyme, man, pre them. Caught me a op, kept on bleeding. L2R2, man, pop this corn like the cinema view. Broski drills, man's drilling it too. Zone 2.
Pop this corn like the cinema. That's a different one. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. And you would think with something like corn that that's a reference that would have been made already. I'm probably about to be in the comments telling me every single person that made that exact reference. Sorry if that is the case. I don't really care. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't heard that reference, or at least that I haven't remembered a reference at that. That's something really memorable.
L2R2, man, pop this corn like the cinema view. Broski drills, man's drilling it too. Zone 2 step, tryna finish them you. Man, cut through, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, bro, bring me that rucksack like on the up block with a bruck that. 2 hands on, man, clutch that.
Once you hear Kweng mention the damn rucksack, just know that the bruck back is coming somewhere in that bar. He loves combining those two things in his sequences. But even the way that Caesar finds ways to complement what Kweng is saying in those small moments, like he makes the beat match the energy and the fun, playful, even though he's talking about isn't fun and playful, right? But he allows the beat to match the way that he delivers it. So when something sounds kind of cheeky, he allows the beat to make you focus on that thing and not just be just more noise in the background.
Tryna finish them you, man, cut through, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, bro, bring me that rucksack like on the up block with a bruck that. 2 hands on, man, clutch that. Any shoes on sale, man, cop that. Any ops on site, man, blood that. I'm like, who's that, what's that? Man, cut you, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, bro, bring me that rucksack like on the up block with a bruck that. 2 hands on, man, clutch.
It's the kind of thing you can hear playing in a JD. I know that's the kind of things that people comment every time an artist has a song like this, but you can hear this in a JD, you can hear this like in a fun environment, you feel me?
Look, Man don't lie, man spit rhymes. 2-2 step, then the next shot fly. Dip slash in his chest or his eye. Ask little bro if you think that I'm lying. Screaming out gang by your gang, don't ride. Night take suit J1s and I'm nice. Thought my bedroom wasn't up, so I stopped. Needy pie. Kweng is this, Kweng is that. Kweng is Marga, his head's fat. But I'm still king in this bitch that's fat. Fuck your girl and robbed her man. Man don't fuck with them, you joke man. Allow it, I meant joke men. Golden one from up the old blue. Met a sweet one from down the old Kent. Like, big Kwengface from the norm. How did I get this far? They think I'm a bandit, I think I'm a star. When I cut true, man, I place like raw.
It's so interesting to me to hear the parts of a beat that artists allow to accentuate what they're saying. I can't identify it right now, like specifically on the top of my head, but the downbeats in Kweng's bars and the downbeats and like his cadences line up with the kicks and the beat. So it's like they're meeting each other. So while the beat itself is kicking up, his verses and his tone is kind of dropping down, so they meet in this weird way where like it clashes, but it accentuates what he's saying. That's the way that I'm immediately receiving it. I could probably be dragging it, but that's just the way that I feel. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section if you agree with me or not.
Blue, met a sweet one from down the old Kent. Like, big Kwengface from the norm. How did I get this far? They think I'm a bandit, I think I'm a star. When I cut true, man, I place like raw. Face so big that I can't go shop, man, I always get clocked. This shit is so hot. Is it a fan or is it an op? Either way, man's moving on job. Look.
So that's why I'm doing it, so you can see, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So the parts where he has a syllable that's like really exaggerated or really heavy, the beat is right underneath it, and Caesar makes sure to not make it super heavy, so that way it's like clashing too much when those parts line up. That's really interesting to me.
I love my freedom, but I risk it anytime I see them. Fly at the rhyme, man, pre them, caught me up, kept on bleeding. L2, R2, man, pop this corn like the cinema view. Broski drills, man's drilling it too. Zone 2 step, tryna finish them you. Man, cut you, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, bro, bring me that rucksack. Like, on the up block with a bruck that. 2 hands on, man, clutch that. Any shoes on sale, man, cop that. Any ops on site, man, blood that. I'm like, who's that, what's that? Man, cut you, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, bro, bring me that rucksack. Like, on the up block with a bruck that. 2 hands on, man, clutch that.
Yo.
Any shoes on sale, man, cop that. Any ops on site, man, blood that. Yo,
this is cold.
Right now, see my lifestyle's changing. Can't lie, see I like it. I was chilling in a bando with cats last year, and I'm chilling with a crew from Love Island. Ken said do this music thing. I don't like when you talk about riding, but this gang shit set side, and I love drug money, big guns and violence, bro.
And I appreciate him giving you this dichotomy of his mind. This reminds me of a recent reaction that I did. I forgot who the artist is on the top of my head, but I think it was Digga D and Energy, where it's like you can hear the growth, but you can also hear the internal struggle. You can hear the fact that he's trying to leave a particular life behind, and he's trying to step into a life that he's admitting it. I'm actually enjoying this more wholesome life. I get to network with other kinds of people, but still wrestling with the fact that for the majority of his life up until this point, he's had a different reality. When things become a habit, whether you like it or not, you can't just break it. So while, yes, it's easy to judge the things that they may talk about, the things that they may do, whatever the case may be, you still have to acknowledge it. Just like in your life, right? If something changed, like where you live, or maybe somebody dies, maybe you lose your job, whatever the case may be, that one change in your routine, it's just so jarring to adjust to. It's the same thing when you come from the kind of life that he does. When you pivot in life, you still have to adjust the person that you are. You have to become a new person. And that's not easy in any context. Imagine all the people who can't lose weight because it's hard for them to go to the gym. People who can't let go of an ex. These are all habits that the regular everyday person can relate to. That struggle is the same thing as a person coming from this life. So I love the fact that he doesn't try to force himself to sound wholesome. He doesn't try to force himself to sound road. He's giving you exactly where he is right now in his life, and he's allowing both of these thoughts and streams of consciousness to coexist at the same time. And I'm looking forward to hearing now what's going to happen when Kweng is able to elevate past that even more. That's why artists like Kweng and Digga D have longevity to me.
Chilling in a bando with cats last year, and I'm chilling with a crew from Love Island. Ken said do this music thing. I don't like when you talk about riding, but this gang shit set side, and I love drug money, big guns and violence. Broski step, I'm stepping out too. Man zone 2 step, man step and flex round there, trying to finish them youths. Up block drilling it, shank get intimate. Go home man, I build my zoo. I ain't trying to step with a whole gang. More time man stepping in twos. Cover my back when I lean and shoot.
I'm really hoping y'all can understand what I'm saying with this, because I'm hearing it, I'm just like, damn, I wish I could explain this better. On a beat like this that has the hi-hats and everything, certain other artists might be trying to ride the hi-hats and they'll try to make their flow match the hi-hats. With Kweng, all of the exaggerations, all of the parts of his cadence that are really heavy, that's the only way that I can describe it, they're lining up with the bass. It's almost like the hi-hats don't even exist on this. Now that I'm like really listening to it, like they're there and they're adding a little bit more texture. But if you really listen to where Kweng is on the beat, it's on the grittier parts, it's on those heavier parts.
Drug money, big guns and violence. Broski step, I'm stepping out too. Man zone 2 step, man step and flex round there, trying to finish them youths. Up block drilling it, shank get intimate. Go home man, I build my zoo. I ain't trying to step with a whole gang. More time man stepping in twos. Cover my back when I lean and shoot. A man do the same cause that's my brother. Put one hand on my brother. Man's getting straight round there with a cutter. Man talk tough on the neck, catch him in the flesh, spread him out like butter. I just booked me a tender, about to put down another. Don't you know I'm about my butter? I love my freedom, but I risk it anytime I see them. Fly out the ride, man, pre them, caught me up, kept on bleeding.
Yo, this would have been so hard with PS. PS, nah, I was gonna say Gully. Nah, probably not, I don't think Gully's ready for this kind of sound yet. PS would have elevated this a slight level further. And hearing the ways that they talk about these struggles that they experience, I think PS would have brought the more, I don't want to say the darker, but the more kind of melancholy, kind of sad aspects of it. I feel like Kweng gives you the more kind of, he's not presenting a certain level just yet. He's giving you a certain level of vulnerability that's like right behind it is like where PS has given us sometimes. I think PS kind of peeled away a little bit from not trying to tap too deeply. I think that having that level of vulnerability from PS would have kind of elevated and further accentuated what Kweng is trying to communicate here. I think he's just like barely kind of struggling to peel back away at that kind of machismo, that kind of bravado. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to describe it. And I also think that having somebody like PS, but it also helped elevate the lyricism to me just a little bit. This isn't the kind of song you listen to for the lyrics per se, so I appreciate the fact that Kweng has these one-off lines. He has the vulnerability, he has the glimpses into his psyche. I get that, but I think that what this is really about is more so this moment. I think this is about the sound. I don't think it fully shows what Kweng can do lyrically though.
L2, R2, man pop this corn like the cinema view. Broski drills, man's drilling it too. Zone 2 set, trying to finish them mutes. Man cut you, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, better bring me that rucksack like on the off block with a fuck that. 2 hands on, man clutch that. Any shoes on sale, man cop that. Any ops on site, man blood that. I'm like, who's that, what's that? Man cut you, bust that. Painting, give me that WhatsApp, but when I hit you, better bring me that rucksack like on the off block with a bruck back. 2 hands on, man clutch that. Any shoes on sale, man cop that. Any ops on site, man blood that.
This is so hard. This is the kind of music I could play for people, like, even if they don't understand the cultural context. They can appreciate the musicality, they can appreciate to the degree that he has some of those kind of witty punchlines and similes and stuff. They can appreciate that, but they can also just sit back and just love it for the music. This to me, I think, is going to be one of the most memorable moments in Kwengface's whole career. Obviously, you had the moments like him trying to explain his lyrics to like the classical musician, obviously of stuff like No Censor. That whole era of Zone 2 was just devious. What Kweng is showing us right now is the potential of drill rappers, especially UK drill rappers. He's showing you what can happen if they're able to kind of sit back and reflect on the ways in which their life is evolving. They're not constantly in survival mode, so they have that room to process these things. They can talk about it now, not necessarily feel too much shame about it. He's really owning his reality, and that's why I personally love drill, because there's so much room and there's so many possibilities for artists to talk about these realities while also helping us understand it, while also showing the trajectory that their life is going and what's happening in their brains every step of the way throughout that trajectory. Musically, this bangs. I can play this for people confidently, and I know that people are going to be able to appreciate it. I know people are going to be able to look past the accents and maybe even some of the slang just because of how well it sounds. This is one of those things that I think is a masterclass in UK music as a whole. I think that all it really needed was a feature either from somebody who's a little bit less contemporary, or even somebody like a PS or somebody else who may be able to bring that kind of sense of vulnerability while also keeping drill what it is right now. Either of those two directions could have really elevated this track to a whole other level, but nonetheless, I'm very pleased with what I got.